Oh, shit. It is a beautiful Saturday night. I am in Alabama. My man, we are social distanced by a long distance. This is episode 34 of The Great Satan. I am joined with my main man, David P. Marks, David Walker, David Waller, depending on what social media platform we are talking about.
And there's a lot of them.
And there are a lot of them. My man fronting the Super Elevators.
Formerly, them people died. They died in Vietnam.
My bad. I didn't realize we died. I was
Yeah,
like, shit. I thought I was still in that band.
you are. It's just yours now. You can have it.
Okay, cool. Because I think out of band names, like bands I've been in, band names that I've had, I think that's probably one of the I don't know, not necessarily like the best, but definitely like a fun and technically obscure.
Oh man, my next project, I really want to do like a Jesus Lizard slash Bambara ripoff band called Railroad Spine.
Yeah,
Because before PTSD was like identified and understood, people that survived train wrecks would commonly have symptoms of PTSD, and they thought that it was like a nerve damage in the spine was
right.
causing the symptoms. So they called the condition railroad spine, and I think that'd be a really cool, like a noise rock band.
Absolutely. Yeah, we definitely need to like put drumsticks under some strings and make kodo noise
Hmm.
to that for sure. Um, so if the people that don't know who you are, we like trains and
A
transit.
lot.
Um, and we think transit is a human right and should be free at the point of service, provided for you by the state that you're in, whether that be federally or whatever. It doesn't matter. I really don't give a shit about the technicalities of it as long as transit
If
is
there's
being
a if
provided.
there's a train and I can ride it, I'm here.
Then we're good. Yeah, dead ass. So, but we also like what else do we like? We like the possums,
We
right?
like possums.
We like possums.
Possums are pretty sick.
Possums are sick. Um, Playing in shitty bars, which we don't get to do anymore because of the Rona. But one of my favorite stories was like I was like so stoked to play like a shitty dive bar, and then like you just being like in between songs like uh you would be like, let me get a raise hail praise Dale for trans rights, but then like all these boomers had already started to be like raise hell praise Dale before they heard the trans rights part, and they were like, you know what? I'm not gonna stop just because he said the dick people be women. Like fuck it. Like I guess
The
so
best
like
part of this is that this is at the world famous Nick in Birmingham. Like this isn't even just a regular shitty dive bar. This is like a famous bar that
yeah,
everybody has played at.
yeah.
This is, I
Uh,
mean, to like 9 people to be fair, but
right. Henry Rollins got a hand job in that bathroom. I saw the Arcade Fire there in 2003.
I may have gotten a hand job in the bathroom. I really can't remember because I was drunk, but it's possible.
I definitely have not gotten a hand job in that bathroom.
Well,
Um,
that's good because it's not a nice bathroom.
no, it's a pretty gross bathroom. It's better now than it used to be. It used to be grosser.
I'm sure. I heard the White Stripes played there one time. I have no evidence to corroborate this.
I saw the White Stripes there in '02. I want to say they were on the road with uh, Blonde Redhead or Belle and Sebastian. I can't remember. One of the
Gotcha.
B's. It was a B, and they weren't on that night. And then they booked like an offshoot tour and went there. And I want to say the 40 Watt in Athens, like in the
Okay.
same like 2 nights.
I bet that would have been that was a good time to see them, I think. Back when Jack still played the Crestwood.
Big time, big time. I want to say '02. I might be wrong on that, but that was that. Yeah, they were crazy. And I remember not liking it
Yeah.
and being like, I mean, I guess like
It hadn't caught on yet by then.
I think they hadn't. I mean, they didn't know what made them cool yet. So
Right.
like, there were shows where it was like thick and whatever, and there were shows where it was like pretty anemic sounding.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, it's a guitar and drums. Like, and it felt like a guitar and drums, if that makes sense. Or
Right.
it's like it wasn't as thick. So I mean, and then like a year and a half later, it was like, oh fuck, Michel Gondry has produced a video with Legos or whatever the fuck, and this is beautiful.
Yeah.
And now I
I've
get it.
actually I've seen a piece of the Lego set because I did finally get to visit Third Man in Nashville, and it was pretty cool.
Nice. Yeah,
I
it's
rec-
crazy.
I had a good time there. That was neat. I know the guy that taught Jack White how to play slide guitar. Johnny Walker from the Soledad Brothers is a real good Facebook friend of mine, and that is a wonderful human being.
Nice. Hell yeah. Well, hell yeah. Phil, as they say, fill my possum veins, brutalism trains, slide guitar,
Yeah.
something. I don't know. I don't know. I'm having a bit of a stroke. Speaking of hand
Um,
jobs, I'm having a stroke.
does the toast smell good?
It does. Uh, Speaking of things you have to smell, Chris Evans's dick is trending on Twitter. We set that
Yeah.
up for the veins line, and like we didn't land it.
No, it's okay.
It's okay because the smelling is funnier. Like doing a line off of Chris Evans's dick. We couldn't find a picture of it, but I like asked a group chat, like, "Hey, y'all seen it?" And somebody was like, "Fair to middling," you know.
That's now, to be fair, that's a large step above me, so
I
I'm gonna give
mean,
him that
shit.
one.
If we're talking about photographic evidence, the camera removes 1.5 inches.
That's what they
So
tell me.
that's, I
It
mean,
takes that from your dick and adds it to your total body weight.
and then minuses, shit. I don't, whatever.
Quarter-inch off your hairline.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah. Well, mine's reaching back a little bit. I don't brush my hair very often, so my like twice a month brushing, I lose like 8 pounds of hair. It's
right.
good.
It'll get there. Yeah. it'll be back here eventually. Fuck, man. Yeah. It's trending because apparently, like, he was supposed to be like, he had said something about defending vagina. I don't really understand anything about anything on the internet sometimes.
I've been avoiding social media as much as possible, except to shit post about trains. So I could check my Twitter trending.
Everybody's hyped about Chris Evans nudes, like we didn't all see a banana stuck in his ass in 2001.
Okay, that's fair.
That was the teen movie, or not another teen movie. Yeah, one of those. Like,
For the top one that I'm reading is that he was showing fans his camera roll.
oh no, human doesn't deserve people reposting it. Spread Chris memes instead. And then, oh, him jumping on a grenade. Oh, in the movie, he jumped on a grenade. But
I was
then
about
they're
to say
joking about him jumping on a grenade by posting his dick. I don't.
Sure.
Guarding my Chris Evans standing outside my house at night guarding my pussy. I mean, go off, King. Like, post it. You know.
Apparently, Conor McGregor was arrested for sexual assault and indecent exposure in Corsica, and nothing about that shocks me.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. That's the guy with the. That's with the guy with the bare knuckle fisting and the boxing and also the racism.
Racist remarks. Yeah.
Yeah, the racism.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah. My man running around being racist and showing dicks.
I've never been to a punk show. I would never coordinate those two things together. Come on.
Right. Yeah.
Who would ever thought?
Why would I ever imagine a person that's racist would be doing the bare knuckle fisting
and being gross to women?
Right. At the same time? Come on. Get out of here.
It just doesn't add up.
Look, next thing you know, you're going to tell me this guy doesn't tip well.
Oh, man.
Right.
Man, I tell you, if you tip below 30%, I just think you're a scumbag.
In the Ronies? I mean, come on. We got the Ronies going on. What are you going to tip
yeah.
less than 30%? What are you doing?
Being a piece of shit, that's what.
Anything? Yeah. It's crazy because like there, you know, you got the groceries, right? Like you got to get your groceries. There's people that are like old people or whatever, and they got to get their groceries like that, and you're like, just make the app charge that because they don't know what they're doing. They just think that these people are paid fair and they don't have to think about it because they never had to. The entire time they've been alive, unions were a thing. You know, when they were a kid, pumping gas was like a thing that mentally challenged people could do until they were 50 and then retire, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
like, this idea that people drive to get groceries and then drive them to your house for less than a living wage is like mind blowing to old people.
You know, and like an elderly family member of mine was recently complaining about the raise in price of like a he would go up to Wendy's and make like an ice cream float. He'd get a Coke and a like a senior drink and a junior frosty and make, you know, and he's like, he made the remark it had gone up like 50 cents total to get it. And I'm like, it's less than $3 with tax. Like you're okay. It went up 50 cents, but you know, those people make the same thing that I made when I worked there in high school, which is
Right.
not a lot.
606, yeah.
Well, 7.25 in
725,
Alabama
yeah.
now, but yeah.
606. Yeah, I'm from the $6 even. First year holding down a job at minimum wage, it was my pay raise went to $6.06.
And then I watched the first little bit of the previous episode. Your next raise was 666, which is pretty punk rock. So
Yeah, dead ass. Um, yeah, that was the oh shit. Yeah, that was I forgot even mentioning minimum wage back then. It was crazy.
that the first 7 minutes of that video is so hilarious because it's just you dancing and celebrating the death of people that neither of us like.
It's yeah, exactly.
Herman Cain is dead.
Yeah,
Herman Cain is
Herman Cain,
dead.
Liz Warren's brother. Oh yeah, the music for that was Coffin Dance. I'm trying to keep that going. I think we should definitely use Coffin Dance meme more. I think people that don't use Coffin Meme Dance or never have should do it right now. Post just a link to that YouTube video, and then one person you're very happy is dead. If you are basic, you can say Hitler. That makes it very easy. You can say Mussolini. You could say one of the more reactionary pre-Soviet Russian, monarchs. You could say
Now, if you want to pregame a little bit, you could always Morrissey.
he's still alive, but do it.
Pregame,
Let's
pregame,
celebrate.
pregame,
Let's celebrate that motherfucker's death tomorrow.
pregame. That's
Yeah.
right.
What you're
Unfortunately, you
doing is
can't.
you're doing a thank you in advance at the end of your email to the universe.
Unfortunately, they tell me it's illegal. It's sick buzzard to say it about the president, but you know, this
See,
Zoom
I've
call
heard.
this Zoom call is not encrypted, so I'll leave it at that. But
Correct. Well, we are recording, and this will be released unedited. So, uh, it's okay. It's crazy because you can't say most things. Like America has no free speech for real. But like if you say, for instance, it's illegal to say that you should kill the president. I'm just telling people what it's illegal to say.
that's that's all you're doing. That's it.
Um, I mean,
I'm
it's
told
not
it's very
doxing to tell you his address either, because it's been the address of every president for like a long time.
it's right in Washington D.C. It's right on Pennsylvania Avenue.
Real easy from the fourth floor of the Washington Hotel. It's very easy. On 405 is the suite number. That's the corner that overlooks the front yard.
That's what I'm
It
told.
would definitely be illegal for me to tell people that one of those windows opens and can see the Lincoln bedroom at least, and most of the front yard of the White House.
That would be super illegal.
It would be definitely illegal for me to actionably tell people how to do it, or to suggest that it's possible. Now, all through W and Obama's presidency, I did it a lot. I told people how illegal it was
Right.
to tell people how easy it would be to actually kill the president. you know?
Yeah.
And also, like, it's also not illegal for me to say any of this because I think uh, it would be like limp dicked as hell to be like killing the president. Like, I just think it's stupid and not effective, you know? Like, if every president that's ever been president my entire adult life, or my entire life, period, since Reagan, has not changed anything about American hegemony or fascist violence in the third world or like anything, they've just made it worse and worse and worse. Do I think that killing a president would help anything? No, not at
Not
all.
at all.
Not at all. If
It would be
anything,
funny.
if anything, I should tell people that it's technically illegal to suggest that you sell a fake baby on the dark web and buy a 50 cal sniper rifle and sit outside of an ICE detention center and pick off the guards. That would be illegal for me to say that, and it would be really, really dangerous for me to say that because it would be very effective to do
It
that
would be
thing.
it would be very illegal to point out the fact that there are readily available instructions online for how to create mustard gas in a glass jar that using a regular old military surplus gas mask that is, easily to acquire with working cartridges. It'd be super illegal anyways, roundabout way to say that with a little bit of PPE, you could create glass jars of this and hurl it at places like that,
That would
the
be
office areas.
wildly irresponsible and incredibly. I don't know how illegal it is to explain that the information exists, but I would definitely consider it irresponsible. And I personally will not be party to that kind of thing on my broadcast of Podness or my YouTubes or
I
the.
would not either. I would
I
never
don't
do
think
that.
I don't think Facebook would be okay with me uploading something about how easy it would be to create mustard gas in a mason jar, be absolutely
Just like this mason jar that this illegal liquor is in right here.
correct. I definitely don't want to tell people how easy it is to make illegal liquor and
Oh my
not pay.
kids. Yeah, you don't want to tell them how easy it is because it's easy.
It's so easy, and we definitely don't want people to know how easy it is. And we definitely don't want people to know that you can probably one single person could sneak 5+ gallons in a backpack sprayer and run and jump onto trains and get across state lines without the use of a motor vehicle with registration. Um,
I wouldn't say that it's probably very easy to find this information through various localized railfan groups on Facebook as long as you pretend to be a Republican either, but neither here nor there.
yeah. And that, so it actually is not illegal. This one, we'll go ahead and this is actionable. Actionable good advice is make a fake Facebook page, pretend to be a Republican, and you can get freedom of speech back.
It's really that easy.
It's that easy. Right wingers have freedom of speech. You don't have freedom of speech the moment you say you're a communist. You get booted off of all kinds of shit. You get in trouble on Twitter. You get trouble on Facebook. I mean, unless you're a literal fascist and
those guys get to stay, but
oh yeah, then too, yeah. But Republicans for sure stay until you do actionable, like until like everything we just said is illegal to do. Mostly Republicans and fascists actually do say that kind of shit.
And it's totally okay for them.
Never get in trouble for it. It's crazy. Like we had to do all this rigmarole where we say it's illegal to say this stuff. They don't do that. They just say kill Obama immediately, please, or whatever. And then they're the president of the EIB network for 42 years. Big pill addiction, play golf every weekend with the guy that broke into the Washington hotel. You know, it smarter people than I have fallen down rabbit holes of doing the like double standard thing, and I don't like to do that because it's played out. Like we know it's a double standard. It's not a double standard, it's a single standard. There is no standard for people that uphold hegemony.
It's their standard, and everyone else is forced to modify their existence to survive in that standard, and that's really the end all and be all of the situation.
I'm still trying to figure out how big Chris Evans' dick smells.
I could probably sniff 5 or 6 inches of it. I could sniff enough coke off of it to lose my job. I'll tell you that much.
Can you not do coke for your job? I mean, I've never done coke, but I didn't know you couldn't do it for a job.
I mean, I'm not going to say here nor there about what drugs I may or may not have done, but at my particular line of employment, you absolutely cannot do coke. That being said, I've seen with my own eyes plenty of coke snorted off of pieces of railroad equipment, but
Correct. Well, shit.
but don't do
I've
it.
seen a lot of coke snorted off of railroad equipment too. I've never worked for the railroad. Um, I've just seen people do it.
The context is a little different between the two groups of people that were snorting the coke, though.
A big difference. Yeah, huge fucking difference.
Probably huger than Chris Evans's dick. But back to snorting coke off of it. Someone, if you've got the picture and he's okay with it, because consent is key. So if he makes a post that says it's fine, I want to see his dick.
Yeah, I think he was doing like a camera roll thing. From what I gathered, context-wise, he was like scrolling through a camera roll, talking about like defending something. I don't get it, but was just being like, "Yeah, here's this," and then it popped up, and then people were able to like find a frame. So it's both consent and not consent. I don't know how he feels about it now.
I mean, he's hot
Yeah,
and
smoke
has
show.
money. So I would just say post the fucking thing personally. But I'm not here to speak on what other people do with their body. But
Right.
I mean, let me see that dick.
Yeah. Right. I'm trying to see that dick. I want to know
I'm
about the
trying to-
veins
So I can directly inject them with brutalism and trains.
and trains. Right.
That's a fun part of riding through New York City, especially the Bronx and out that area. Once you start getting like you get away from Long Island Railroad and start getting into Metro North territory.
Yeah.
Man, all the really, really not great like government housing skyscrapers do have a really nice brutalist theme going on. They have like a darker red color that I'm not a huge fan of, but man, those obelisks of neo-capitalism sure are neat looking.
Yeah. It's great. They look great. I don't care who you are. That shit looks cool. Big ass buildings with a lot of people living in them. Whether they're built to like the lowest bidder or, whatever, and made some guy a billionaire instantly. That part's depressing, but the actual buildings themselves house a lot of people, and that makes me happy. Just like trains, where it's like, look, it doesn't. A lot of people don't know this about like culturally during the Soviet Union, the trains was considered like a bourgeois affectation. Did you know that?
I did not know that actually.
We think of that's why Ayn Rand was so like pro trains, is because the Soviets thought trains were like about like individual rich people controlling the direction of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So culturally, this is not party platform or the direction of the state or anything like that about Soviet anything, but just to say like during the Soviet Union, culturally in Russia, there was an undertone that trains were a bourgeois affectation, and that loving this like solo directionality, right,
Mm-hmm.
was a capitalist decadence. So when
Huh.
Ayn Rand came over here, she was like trying to write about like, whatever kind of sociopaths exist under
Not
capitalism.
to interject a
Yeah.
gender neutral bathroom joke, but
Yeah.
continue.
Yeah. Ayn Rand's cemetery plot is actually state owned and a gender neutral bathroom. So along with Thatcher, Reagan, who else we got? John
George Bush
McCain,
Sr.
George Bush Sr. Is he still alive or dead?
No, he's dead, and I know for a fact that a Union Pacific employee took a shit on the control stand of the George H.W. Bush locomotive.
Hell yes. Hell yes.
I have anecdotal, direct statement from the guy that did it to my train meme page. He told me he took a whole shit on the dash of that locomotive.
Ah,
Oh, isn't that awesome?
I love it.
Another thing,
The name of the train is the H.W. Bush, and he's like, yeah, I'm shitting on it.
well, and it's painted like Air Force One. They used it to pull his funeral train. It's supposedly for the library, but
Yeah.
okay.
The cognitive dissonance of a train named after H.W. Bush. Makes me really unhappy. But that's one of those same cognitive dissonances that I was mentioning about the Soviet Union and the cultural thing, where they're like trains being this bourgeois affectation, specifically like destroying the individual because everybody's going the same exact direction and yada yada yada. And they said that it was anti-communist to do trains. Not the party said that, but there was like
Right.
cultural underpinning that trains were anti-communist.
And I strongly disagree because I'm a communist and I love trains.
Yeah, same, hard, same, very hard, same. I
Hard,
would say,
apparently like Chris Evans's dick.
yeah, I wouldn't say from 6 to midnight, but I would say midnight on the hardness of same. Because yeah, communism and trains go together like Chris Evans.
Brutalism in my veins.
Yeah, I was gonna say Chris Evans' dick and coke. But,
Yeah, that too.
Um,
It goes together like David Waller and apple pie moonshine.
that shit's going down smooth too. I'm like seeing 2 inches off that. Like, you had at least 3.5.
I'm gonna die before the end of this episode. You brought the great Satan onto the great Satan, and now I'm ready to die.
I'm drinking Diet Dr. Pepper.
Raise hail, praise Dale.
Yeah.
You know what? The first tour I went on with the Super Elevators was with a Sunday Fire and Falling for Insanity. And Trevor Johnson, one of the nicest people that I know, he used to play bass in Falling for Insanity. He has a project called Mosaics now. We were in the back of a Sunday Fire's van. We shared the back row together, and I taught him the perfect amount of Coca-Cola to drink before filling the rest of the can up with Jameson so that you can do tour shopping in a Walmart and get day drunk.
Yeah.
Very underage. It was a good time. That
Yeah.
was a nice little side note. But I'm not saying that Fifi has filled that Diet Dr. Pepper with Jameson, but I am saying that if he's learned it, it'd be from me.
I'm a shot and back guy. That's how I go. I've always fucked with cocktails. I've always like done the Diet Coke can full of red wine, Lambrusco wine. Speaking of Walmart, that is where you get the Rianetti Lambrusco. It's like kind of a little sparkly red wine that's like 9.5.
They don't sell beer and wine at the Walmarts up here in New Jersey. It's a goddamn shame.
The
Yeah,
fuck?
no gas stations, nothing. You got to go to a beer store.
Dude, if you go to Florida, they sell liquor in the Walmart.
I know, isn't it nice?
That shit rocks. You can get a mountain bike and hammered enough to wreck a mountain bike.
And a gun.
You can buy a gun. You can buy a gun, a mountain bike, enough liquor to not be able to use either one of them appropriately.
New tires for your truck.
Yep.
A
Trailer.
smoker.
Yeah, smoker. Smoker. Speaking of smokers, out in the parking lot, you can get a meth lizard
Yeah. Or meth.
or meth. Other things you could smoke
Or
snort.
whatever you can rob from a touring band that's sleeping in the back part of the parking lot.
That shit sucks.
Yeah.
I will say here they do retaining walls in all the Walmart parking lots in Alabama. They're way better to sleep in.
Yeah.
We have retaining walls in almost every single Walmart here. They're
Not
always
the ones in Dothan, but yeah.
Well, yeah, if there has to be hills.
Yeah.
The Auburn
Hey.
one doesn't have retaining walls either, but there's no reason to do a retaining wall when the elevation change per mile is measured in centimeters.
Oh God, I wish that you could tell that to the old Atlanta and West Point Railroad because I think they would have some stark disagreements. They managed to hit every single hill, all of them.
I kind of wonder if that shit was on purpose. They were like, back in the day when they designed those routes, if they were like, you know what? These downhills are so you can take a nap and stop fucking shoveling coal in this motherfucker.
Yo, man, so the Hartwell Railroad in North Georgia, I'm taking a trip up next time I go home. They currently have a collection of extremely rare locomotives in their original. You got like, there's a Conrail engine, Rio Grande, Elgin, Joliet, and Eastern, Bessemer and Lake Erie, Chicago North. It's sick. So most of the line's abandoned now, but back in the day, I think up into the 70s or 80s, the full line was still there. They had up to 5% grades. The federal standard for maximum grade on a freight railroad in the United States is 2%. And how they measure
Right.
those grades, for anyone that doesn't know, is it's how many feet of elevation you gain while traveling forward or lose per 100 forward. So you go 100 feet forward, you go up 2 feet. That's 2%. That
Right.
is a massive grade for a railroad. 2% doesn't 2 feet for every 100 doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're pulling 113 loaded 150-ton coal cars, that's a lot. They didn't even attempt to cut a grade.
Yeah.
A lot of old railroads, obviously back in the day, there wasn't like, it was a lot of hand and mule power, maybe a steam shovel if you're lucky. So obviously hills and curves are a big thing, but they didn't even try. They literally slapped track on hill and went over it. No
Said,
ballast, nothing,
fuck
just
it, YOLO.
ties in mud, 5% fucking grades. And they ran that for like 100 years.
Yeah. No, and no
Nuts.
problems. It would be like every decade at least there would be a moment where someone just like did a burnout on the track and just like there would be a divot.
Oh, I see that all the time. I work on
And
a
now it's pretty
passenger
common
transit.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, I work on because so they'll be like giving the locomotive the beans at the station, taking off, and they burn the rail to pieces.
Yeah. Shit's crazy.
It is.
Um like it is the insanest part is like how much effort it is to change a moment of track, like a slab of track or whatever, to fix that shit. Or you know what I mean? When someone does a burnout that deep, you're like, why haven't they put like stoppers on the amount of beans you can give from a standstill? Like,
Well, a lot of it is so like when they measure locomotives have horsepower ratings, obviously, but that's not what they're after when railroads are shopping. They look at tractive effort,
yep,
which is basically how many thousands of pounds can I put on the drawbar, the couplers of this locomotive without breaking the coupler,
yeah,
and how many thousands of pounds of it's a combination of downward, forward, and tensile forces.
right,
So I think like earlier diesels were something like they would have a starting effort of like second generation diesels, maybe 59,000 pounds of tractive effort with maybe like 52,000 continuous pounds per locomotive. So it really depends on your train weight is why you can't do anything about it, because there's no accurate way to measure drawbar forces consistently because the train has slack. So it's constantly rolling in and out. So, and it's one of those things. I'm sure that a method could be devised to control it, but you look at all the modern controls that class ones like BNSF and railroads like that are using, they can see at headquarters when a locomotive is above a certain throttle notch. And from like headquarters, Union Pacific does it a lot. They will not allow a locomotive to go past a certain throttle notch. The train
nice,
crews are like, well, we can't get it to load. It won't. They're like, why are you taking so long? Why aren't you at track speed? I'm like, well, you've limited me to 3/8 of my throttle, so I can't get this train up to speed. But it's a
right,
fuel saving thing. So generally, when they implement things like that, they're saving on fuel and wear and tear, but the trains aren't moving across the road as well either. So it's a give and a take, because railroads aren't interested in running trains anymore. Let's make that very clear. They're interested in stockholder value.
right, yeah,
Capitalism is ruining the state of the most immense and powerful rail network on the planet. The U.S. has the most comprehensive, heaviest, and most rigid rail network on planet Earth. It is the most unfathomably complicated and functional network of freight hauling, period, on the planet, land-wise. And it is in such a sorry state right now because the drive for stock value and
right,
shareholder approval is so much more important to the railroad than actually moving freight and providing a customer service.
exactly. It's really interesting too that so like I don't know how familiar you are with Biden and his record.
Yeah, I know that he likes to say that he supports Amtrak, but
Yeah, he supported the privatization, like managerial privatization of Amtrak, but
yeah, which is
not the
not
actual
good.
nationalization of it.
Right.
Like the opposite of it being supported, right? Where he's like, "Oh, I used the private sector to make it better," and what it did was
Make it worse.
incentivize profit, which makes that's not how rail works, you know?
Well, and I have direct experience through working on the Northeast Corridor that it is a self-sustaining area. I mean, it's immense the money that they spend on maintenance, but with ridership during non-COVID times, it does pay for itself.
Yeah,
The funding only comes for like major locomotive replacements, like all the new ACS 64s, Amtrak City Sprinters engines from Siemens that came out the last few years. Money came from the budget for those because you're talking about replacing hundreds of locomotives.
Yeah.
But the prior locomotives, the AEM 7s, ran for 40 years.
Yeah.
And the Sprinters are expected to last just as long.
Yep.
The national funding really only covers things like the long distance trains, which are just as important as the corridor.
Yeah.
And that's something that's not reflected enough. Like right now, nationwide, Amtrak services every third day.
Yeah.
Because of COVID, the ridership, and they're cutting the train shorter. They have stopped, even before COVID, stopped providing hot meals on the trains. Amtrak was known for having lovely food, and now it's all boxed meals. Those trains are so important because, airlines are not comfortable. Airlines are not convenient. Airlines are not cheap.
Nope.
There's nothing enjoyable about a flight to me except for getting somewhere quickly. And if I don't need to be somewhere that day, I would take a train over a flight 100% of the time, aside from the fact that I have 2 train tattoos and I have no personality. But
right.
I mean, genuinely, it is a much more comfortable and enjoyable experience. But taking away things like hot food and regular arrival times is not good. And another big problem is the fact that the railroads do not honor their obligation to provide Amtrak with priority movements.
Yeah.
And Amtrak is almost always late due to the host railroad and not their own fault.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. When people talk about like the unreliability of rail in America, it's always this like, they go, oh, well, it's this socialist thing and blah, blah, blah. And you go,
It's
you fucking
literally
idiot.
not.
It is literally never the socialism part of the train. It is always the fucking, like, there's a host company trying to make a fucking buck.
And implying that anything about Amtrak being socialist is nonsense because the major railroads get more in tax breaks every year and in hiring incentives than Amtrak gets in total funding. BNSF, Union Pacific, CSX, Norfolk Southern, and somewhat Kansas City Southern being the 5 Class 1 railroads in the United States, not counting Canadian National, who owns the old Illinois Central, Gulf Mobile, and Ohio, and then Canadian Pacific that at one point owned the D&H, doesn't anymore, doesn't matter. Right. They all get massive tax breaks every single year, over again. They get incentives for rebuilding locomotives with better environmental things, which is great.
Yep. Super great. You want them to do that. Yep.
But, none of that is socialist either because this is all still for profit. Yep. To the same token that Amtrak is operated for profit, even though the long distance trains will never profit. The business itself is operated as a profit generating organization, which is the Northeast Corridor being from DC into Connecticut pays for itself normally and pays for its own maintenance and its own employees and for contractors like me to come out and help with the maintenance.
Right.
And none of that is socialist. The fact that the government gives them money for their budget is not socialist because we don't have a people's army.
They do that for a Southern company, Alabama Power, Georgia Power. Like
they do it for the military, and we don't call the military the people's army. Like
hell no.
I do not hail Comrade Boeing, and they get plenty of money from the fucking government.
Right.
It's nonsense. And what that is right-wing propaganda.
Yeah.
Because they know that people that most directly benefit from things like trains, it's not so much the long distance trains that benefit the poor as it is the corridor here being Jersey Transit, SEPTA, MARC, CDOT, that is the lifeblood of places like this, which is not to downplay the importance of long distance trains or their impact on poor communities. But the main thing is they know that those are 2 inseparable things as Amtrak. The long distance trains are grouped in the same way with the Northeast Corridor.
Yep.
And the attack is 2-front because there's a lot of money involved in freight railroads and trying to keep Amtrak away as much as possible because it's service disruptions and it's liability and it's hassle for dispatching and for infrastructure. And there's even more incentive from the right wing in general to to harm the poor, if we're being entirely honest. I think that we're beyond the point now in society that we can ignore the fact that the right wing in general around the world, and especially in America, and centrists as well, because if you look at the American left is the center everywhere else in the developed
Yeah,
world.
yeah, yeah.
So anything
Center
right,
right. Yeah.
yeah, anything right of American Marxists have an active coup against the poor and the disenfranchised in this country and around the world. And it would be foolish to ignore the fact that the ongoing attacks on transit rail in the United States are not a direct attack on the poor. Because in the end, people with money will be able to catch a bus, catch a cab. Same thing. Montgomery, Alabama used to have fucking point of service streetcars. Columbus,
Preach.
Georgia,
Yep.
all sorts of places did. And through the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, all of those agencies were purchased by private bus corporations who ripped out the wire, paved over the rails, and replaced it with bus services, which
And
were
then
not
segregated
profitable.
it.
Yeah, segregated it. And none
Yeah.
of them were profitable because public transit isn't designed to be profitable. It's designed as a public utility. And then they shut down the bus routes, and public transit disappeared across every major city in the Southeast except for Atlanta, who has the worst transit network in the country. But the worst transit network in the country is better than not having one.
Right. Yeah. I would say I would rather have MARTA than nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Um.
But that all of this states back to an 80-year-long direct war on the poor that goes back into a systemic war on the poor for the entire history of this country. But
Yeah.
most specifically, the last 50 and especially 80 years, that window has been, really anything from the Battle of Blair up to now has been just
Right.
an absolute give as little as possible to prevent civil uprising.
Yeah. Woodrow Wilson to present
Yeah.
is a fucking nightmare in this country.
Yep.
And really before that it wasn't great, but there were moments of like brief
Herbert
respites.
Hoover,
Yeah.
being a good example of completely ignoring the needs of the poor for the sake of capital.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. It's always infuriating too when people talk about FDR as this left guy, and you're
Because
like,
he was not.
motherfucker, we had 30% Communist Party membership in this country. Like,
Rural Alabama was a
yeah,
hotbed of communism all of 65 to 70 years ago. It was one of the most red parts of the Western Hemisphere.
literally where redneck comes from is in the South. Motherfuckers would wear red bandanas to say we are fucking communists.
Never forget that the National Firearms Act was never passed because of gangsters. It was never passed because of any of that. It was passed because you could buy a Maxim machine gun and use it to kill Pinkertons that killed your wife and child.
Yep.
It's because private military organizations could get airplanes and drop hand grenades on you and build pillboxes. They could burn your house down.
Yep.
On the dime of coal companies especially, and your only crime being you wanted a living wage.
Yeah.
And some
exactly.
safety standards. And in that point in time, you could buy a machine gun through Sears and Roebuck.
Right.
You could buy a water-cooled Maxim machine gun, and it'd be brought to you by train.
Yep.
And after the Battle of Blair Mountain, when the National Guard had to disarm the miners, not long after that, you start seeing anti-firearms legislation. So that goes back a long way. The U.S. attack on the Second Amendment really goes back almost 100 years, and it's 100% due to poor armed Marxists. I mean,
Right.
whether or not they knew they were Marxists or not, it doesn't really matter. If you're willing to take up arms for the working class, you're directly contributing and taking part of Marxism.
Yeah, absolutely. So we talked about how the First Amendment is only a right if you are not a leftist, and now the Second Amendment is only a right if you're not a leftist.
Yeah.
The Third Amendment, it goes hand in hand with the Second Amendment. So that is actually taken care of in what you said, which is the whole reason to take up arms in the first place is to stop, despotism and authoritarianism and capitalism. The Fourth Amendment is that Obama put soldiers on my couch and just let them sleep there, and I got real mad about it. And I wrote my congressman, and he was like, I mean, I don't know, dog. Like, fuck you, eat, whatever. So there's dudes sleeping on my couch right now, and I was like, quit drone striking people. And they were like, I don't know, dude, I just want a game, And I was like, quit it, dude. And he was like, whatever, it's fun. And they have a YouTube channel, and they just like Eskeet it all the time. I don't know what eskeet it means. What's eskeet it?
Ain't that what them TikTok kids talk about?
Yeah, I thought TikTok was banned. I thought Trump was gonna make America not say eskeet it anymore. They're saying eskeet it like a lot, and they're on my couch and they've got game controllers and they're bombing brown people. I don't like it.
Make America listen to LMFAO again.
My
I,
man, my man.
the Fourth Amendment is to keep soldiers from party rocking in my house tonight. Oh,
My only regret is that I only have one life to apologize for party rocking.
oh man, I could really feel that moonshine now. I'm about to start party rocking.
Yeah, it's time to get it.
Don't think that I haven't stopped thinking about Chris Hemfield's dick, by the way. I'm still very much thinking
wait,
about
who's
it.
Chris Hemsfield?
Oh, wait. No, that's our mutual Facebook friend.
You can't say that man's name. You just said that man's name.
What's the Chris that's Captain America?
Chris Evans. I gotta look up Chris Hemsfield now.
No, we're mutual Facebook friends. He's funny as fuck.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna have to send him this video and be like, "Yo, I was talking about your dick by accident."
Oops.
I was gonna say earlier that I think that his brand of humor was hilarious, and I forgot about it. And I guess I got my Chris's crossed, but you know what? Chris Cross.
You
Apple
got your
moonshine.
what? You got your Chris's crossed. My man,
Cross.
hey, shouts out, happy birthday, Chris Hemphill.
Is it really?
It is his birthday today. My man, I will say this, excellent pianist, very fun musician to play with. I want to say I played with him a couple times. It just took me a second to remember his name. Definitely jam with that motherfucker. He is a fun dude to play music with, so like people talk about like, you know, trolling both sides or whatever as leftists when we troll liberals and conservatives, and you know, whatever other kind of liberals or fascists there are, right? Anyone to the right of Reagan, you know, so this dude, whatever, if you fucking follow him, he's
a masterpiece. He is a masterpiece.
It's HEMPHILL. Shouts out. Fucking happy birthday, man. Gonna have him on sometime for sure. He's fun as hell.
His Facebook is a masterpiece.
Yeah, it is top notch in terms of like his ability to be unflinchingly ironic. Like when he does irony, he does not hold back with it.
There's no pause. There's no character break. Nothing.
Just says a fucking crazy thing and lets people lose their shit in the comments.
It's magical. Speaking of birthdays, the best part of my birthday every year is you saying birthday a lot on my wall.
I used to have a WordPress document that would do it, and then Facebook changed their thing, and it wouldn't. WordPress document, whatever. WordPress used to do it automatically. God damn, you are crushing that. I'll have to take a pause and go down and pull some whiskey, because this thing's empty. I'm gonna make myself a drink and a beer, or like I'm gonna fuck up some whiskey and then bring a beer back up for the second half of this. But I'll tell you about the computer. So the fucking Facebook changed, and the automated birthday message doesn't go. I wrote a thing that randomized the number of the word birthday, right? So every day it would be a different number of the word birthday.
That's so beautiful.
On everybody's birthday, you know, everybody whose birthday it would pop up the on this day birthdays, say happy birthday. And it would just happen when I opened Chrome on my desktop every morning, like no problem. Like literally, amazing. I would open it, it would open a new tab, run the extension, and it would just be done. And then instantly, I would see like people liking that their birthday happened. You know, very easy, very, you know, no big deal. Well, now I have to manually do it again.
I don't even look. I mean, I've deleted 800 people now in the last few days, and I'm still at like 3,500 Facebook friends. I cannot tell 3,500 people happy birthday every year.
No, not at all. Because you're looking at 100 a day on average.
Yeah.
And well, I mean, some people don't put their actual birthday in. But still, it is I want to say when I was doing it manually the first time, it was 20 to 50 people a day.
I average anywhere from a slow day, probably 19 to 20,
Yeah,
and a bad day, 110, 115. I mean,
right.
it's like nuts. There's some birthdays that are very, like August 27th is a big birthday. Don't,
Yeah. This time of year, yeah, the 1st of August to the middle of September is fucking crazy for birthdays. That's why it was such a fucking genius move to do 9/11 on 9/11. You
to
know,
ruin
it
birthdays.
fucked up like, one 1/100th of the population's birthday. It just fucked it up. It was great.
Oh, man.
Shouts out, you know what I mean? No, I'm just,
Death
yeah.
to America.
I mean, death to it. We don't call it the Great Satan for nothing. I will say I don't think 9/11 was good. Okay,
No, no.
I don't like that brand of whatever. Right, like I'm not a big fan of those guys that did it. You know, but it couldn't have
Right.
happened to a better country.
No, you could not have picked a more perfect. Maybe the United Kingdom, if we're being
Yeah,
honest.
yeah, yeah. Close second.
Yeah.
Sometimes close second. Sometimes first place. You know, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
Depending on what part of China you live in, maybe Japan.
Maybe, yeah, maybe Japan. Sometimes China, even sometimes throughout
Yeah.
history. Sometimes China was up there.
I
You know,
guess it could be Mongolia if you hold too much of a grudge.
if you're, if you're that petty about it, get a horse and figure it out. I don't know. Figure out how to make a sword. Fuck. Get a Second Amendment.
Speaking of swords, Chris Evans' dick.
Man, I want to do. I have never done coke. I want to do rails off that motherfucker. It's looking strong.
I mean, I'm saying we could probably hire a lookalike. There's got to
I'm
be somebody.
damn. I mean, I could. I'm looking at some stuff that was sent to me, and we won't call it heroic. You know, it's all right. It's okay. It's mid.
Yeah.
When they said mid, they meant mid. I think the camera does remove an inch and a half. I'll call that a good one though.
I mean, it's got to be better than me. That's the standard I judge it on. If it's better than me, you're doing good,
I
feller.
mean, I don't
I
know.
mean,
I've heard good things about the way it tastes, at least. So
God, I forgot we played enough shows together for that.
yeah,
That's a
I've heard
thought.
I've heard some good rumors.
Oh no.
Uh, so I don't know. I was
Anyways,
trying to make
I
other
got
dick. I was trying
content
to
for
make more
sale.
dick jokes, more dick sucking jokes, but I got nothing because we already did doing rails off of it jokes for Chris Evans, and then I was like trying to do the old Lisa Lampanelli turn your head sideways and do the measure it to the ear, like that one where it's like it tastes about this big, you do that. Like I don't know how big it is, but it tastes about that big.
Oh my God.
It's the classic. It's also like on that is one thing. Like as a stand-up, you're never allowed to be like a fucking joke thief. But as a podcaster, like it's referencing. You're not stealing it. Fuck, I got to do an hour every night. Come on, like a brand new one. Like what am I
Come
gonna do?
on. I can only talk about trains for so long.
Yeah,
That's actually not true. I can not stop talking
I was
about
about to
trains,
say
actually,
6 hours in a car together. You were talking about trains almost
the
the whole
whole
time.
time.
Yeah, man.
God, I would love to. That ride that we took when I left Dothan, picked you up in Montgomery, and we went to Birmingham with like 9 people in the van, and all of our gear was absolutely terrible. But wow, was it fun!
Yeah,
Air
it's
conditioner
summer.
on full blast,
Yeah,
all the back windows open to try to circulate airflow, and it was still like 100 degrees in the van.
crazy. It was like a middle afternoon thing, and it's like I'm when I was a little kid, like there was nothing more fun than getting in any kind of van, right, to go play shows. And it's like I would say somewhere in my late 20s, it was like if the air conditioner doesn't work, fuck this. Like like I got petty all of a sudden, but that was just still such a fun trip.
Also, you got so violently drunk that you threatened to light the stage on fire at one point,
Oh
and
yeah,
and you got so drunk that you tried to walk through a Taco Bell drive-through, and Serenity Digit and I had to go drag you out of the Taco Bell drive-through.
I was jumping on the bell.
Yes, you were.
Yeah, I do remember that. I was not technically blackout drunk. I was just regular having fun drunk. I do remember also threatening to set the stage on fire, and it was not a real threat. I
Because you
think
would have
they
done it.
knew. I mean, if it had been funny to do it, I would have done it, but I don't think I meant it.
No, not to 9 people. It wasn't worth it. The time before then, when we played with another band whose drummer is kind of transphobic, to be honest,
Yeah.
like on the internet. So when we got
Yikes.
they opened for us. So we got on stage, and I remember now they have armed security on big nights at the Nick. Like they
Yeah.
hire cops. There's a cop in the parking lot and a cop inside usually, and I remember being on stage and I was like, yeah, if you guys got any problem with, this, that, the other, and, Black Lives Matter, fucking this, the normal shit. And I was like, if there's any fucking transphobes out here, you can meet me in the parking lot because I got 2 pistols and 2 fists says I'll whip your fucking ass. And I'm
Yeah.
like pointing at the dude while it was happening. And it was, yeah, that was not a threat. That was a guarantee.
Yeah.
Uh,
Heard about that one.
good times at the Nick.
Yeah, the Nick's crazy. It's either the best show you've ever had
Or dog shit.
or dog shit. And then even when it's dog shit, it's at least sounding good, you know?
They do have a nice PA.
That sound system is fucking amazing. Like I love playing there. No matter what instrument I'm playing or what the fuck I'm doing, I love playing the Nick.
I just miss Featured Players in Dothan, Alabama. Shout out to Featured Players Cabaret,
Shouts
the
out.
the only leftist bar in South Alabama.
I would say, yeah, that's true. That's a fact.
That
The
is
only
the only
expressly Marxist bar, I would say, in the state of Alabama.
probably it's the only bar where you can be a leftist, you can be a drag queen, you can be a band, a burlesque performer, a comedian, a DJ, a drug addict, David Waller, which is a combination of all those things.
Right.
Uh, they do everything there. I'll make sure we drop a link to their thing. Yeah, if you're in Alabama, that is a safe place to go.
Yeah. Are they still rocking through COVID? Like, how are they going to be
Yes,
able to crank out once we get back
limited.
open?
It's limited entrance every night, and alcohol sales stop at 10 or
Yeah,
11,
that
one or
sounds
the
right.
other, and
I want
then
to say that's a
30
state
minutes.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can buy alcohol and up to that point and drink it for 30 minutes after, and then you have to be done. They're still selling food. I hate to say go out in public right now
Right.
but if you're willing to go out, you can keep your distance in there. They clean.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, before COVID, they were immaculately clean.
it's
They did a
extremely
really
clean.
great job. The
Clean bathrooms,
kitchen was
kitchen's
hella
clean.
trustable. Yeah. Hell yeah. They were fucking rad. Yeah. Sparkling clean, gender neutral bathrooms.
Yep.
Shit was great. Yeah, featured players, Cabaret, Dothan, Alabama.
Wonderful place.
Link in the description on the YouTube, and also I will tag in the Facebook comments. And if I forget, fucking you'll do it.
I'll do it. Yeah.
Speaking of Facebook plugs, trains.
Train pictures with chaotic auras. The only communist train meme page on the internet. Also the biggest train meme page on the internet.
Yeah, by far now. There was another communist train memes page up until about a year and a half ago. And they were actually a CIA op. They were not good people, apparently.
Wow, who was that?
I can't remember the name of it, but it was very clearly a op, and people reported it because they tried to do some transphobic shit. They were just like anything that had trains in it, they would post it, and they accidentally did a fucking like helicopter meme, with the genders and the thing, and like I identify as funny or whatever. The one joke that Republicans have now.
Yeah.
And they, whatever. So they got, people figured out that they were fucking fake and stopped. They lost like 90% of followers in a week and a half.
Good. Yeah, I've completely destroyed the hobby.
Yeah.
On Facebook entirely with that one page.
Yeah.
The ban list is probably close to 1,000. It's good. I clean house.
Yeah. Exactly. And then train pics with threatening auras.
With chaotic auras.
The chaotic auras is you're at like 17,000, 15,000?
12. 12 right
12,
now.
yeah, 12,000, which is crazy for a meme page on the Facebooks.
For trains. I mean, you see bigger ones, but I think the other biggest train themed page right now is at like 2,000 likes.
Right. And
So,
that's not expressly a communist
oh no, they're
meme
not
page.
even remotely.
Right.
My partner's page is at 70 something thousand likes and gets regular interaction,
Right.
and it does not have the same analytics that TPWCA does. It blows me away. The niche that nobody knew that they needed filled has been filled.
It's true.
It's my
Um,
life's work.
yeah, it's crazy. People, because in a country where people ride a train, an average per member of the population once a year tops,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes once every 4 years. Like it depends on the state, of course, but like when
Yep.
you take that number and divide it by the number of people in the country, we are not a train riding population. We
Nope.
move a lot of stuff on trains.
More freight than any other country in the world.
That's right. And yet still, uh, we know we need them though, right? Like
Yeah.
people that don't ride a train, but once every decade even know how fucking important the efficiency of travel is,
Yep.
and how much better trains are than their mom, their dad, how much better trains are than God, my
Oh, all
mom,
day.
or my dad. You
Yeah.
know, um, trains are better than guns.
Yeah.
Barely.
Barely, but
Uh,
yeah.
trains are better. Trains are better than blowjobs for sure.
Yeah, but every once in a while, some of the slurp gurp McGurp is close, but not quite.
It's about enthusiasm, I think.
I think so too.
Trains are definitely better than hand jobs.
Oh, 100%. And foot
Uh,
jobs, no matter how much I like toes.
right. Trains are not better than moonshine. Because you can't make a train in your backyard. I have
Debatable.
tried.
Well, all right.
And
Trains are better than 3/4 of the first wave of post-punk music.
oh yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, I will say trains are better than 90% of all music ever. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's crazy how much music exists. Like anytime I meet someone that says they hate music, I'm like, I get it. Like if I'd heard all of music, I would be like, most of it's really shitty. It took me a while to find music that wasn't bad, you know?
I will say that not some trains are. Apalachicola Northern number 721 definitely is, but most trains are not better than Tampa Bay Bus Down by Young Gravy, Y2K, and Chief Keef.
Yeah, that's true.
That's kind of
Shouts out.
unarguable. Yeah.
Shouts out. Uh, trains are better than. Trains are better than. Oh, by a mile better than cars.
Yeah, although it is really cool when Dale Earnhardt drove a car real fast.
It's true. I do love. I like racetracks. I like cars on racetracks.
Yeah. I
But
like
that's like
my car.
saying
I like
that
my
like
Volvo. My Volvo's pretty cool,
your
but
Volvo is
it's
cool. You've got a S60,
40, S40
S40.
T5, all-wheel
Oh,
drive, turbocharged, inline 5.
fuck yes.
And then I got my van, my 01 Ford E150, and 2 motorcycles. I got a 2000 Kawasaki Drifter and a 2013 Yamaha Raven Striker.
God damn.
Yeah, I got a collection. I also have a 99 Ford SVT Contour, but it does not run, and it's broke down at an apartment complex in Dothan, Alabama, and it's been there for a year.
You need to.
One of 2,000 of those.
Yeah, I was about to say we need to talk after this about selling that to a Lemons team, because that would be a very fun Lemons car.
Yeah, it would. It needs some work, but it's there.
If it needs work, that means we could justify. Well, I'm not gonna lie. On a receipt, of course, whoever is the Lemons team would definitely pay the appropriate amount of money for the car, and we would not cheat on our
We,
check-ins.
we would never cheat the DMV out of their tax money. We would
Oh well,
never do
that or
that.
the Lemons judges. I would never cheat Lemons.
No. We would never cheat a system in a capitalist structure. Are you kidding me?
Never. Not ever. I would never cheat. There's the old
I
thing. You're
would
not.
never evade federal taxes. Are you kidding me right now?
Yeah. My famously, not famous. Fucking. Why did I say famously? Everybody knows. The way I smoke cigarettes is ripping the back of the filter, rip the filter off, and smoke them backwards. Because under W we got a $2 a pack tax federally on non-filtered cigarettes. Which is like that's when cigarettes for me went to like $11 a pack, no matter where you are.
Whew.
One time in New York State, it was $14 for a pack of cigarettes.
It's more than that now. The only thing that I'll smoke on record is Black and Milds.
There you go.
And let me tell you that there is nothing more upsetting than paying New Jersey and New York prices for a Black and Mild, because I'll smoke a Black and Mild almost any time of the day.
Yeah.
I'm not a regular smoker, but if you have a Black and Mild and you're like, hey, do you want a Jazz Black and Mild with a wood tip or a Blues Black and Mild? I'm going to smoke it. It's like free liquor or free trains. I mean, hey, but
who's going to turn down free trains?
Not me, that too. But paying $1.50 a piece for a Black and Mild is goddamn fascism right there. That is pure right-wing fucking. That is an attack on the proletariat of this country.
It is. It absolutely is.
Black and Milds ought to be 89 goddamn cent or 2 for $1.50.
Tops. Yeah.
Tops.
Yeah. I will say 2 for $1.50 is about fair.
Yeah.
I'd pay that.
I'd pay it.
Do you want to take a break or do you want to call this thing?
We probably ought to call it. I've just downloaded Workers and Resources Soviet Republic, and I'm really trying to play it.
Oh, yes. Son, gonna have you back on sometime. We will talk about gaming. We will talk about trains. We will talk about infrastructure.
And hopefully someone else's dick.
Yeah, other than Chris Evans. Maybe we could talk about
Chris Hempfield's dick this time.
Maybe shit. We'll have him on sometime. I need to talk to that motherfucker.
We should all three get on at the same time and talk about dick. I'm here for it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure if we all just put yoga pants on.
I mean, and a magnifying glass.
And just put that motherfucker together.
That's
all right, man. David Waller, appreciate you being on. All the links that we've discussed will be in the description. Thanks for coming on. This was episode 34 of The Great Satan. Fuck America.
Fuck America. Love you, Fifi.
Love you. Oh, ending that meeting for all.